you lose your engine, don't you?
I mean, all the working parts are underneath that bonnet there, and you've got no forms of looking into it at all at night time, have you? And let's face it, a lot of us are operating these vehicles in the darkness, and that is the dark spot of the whole vehicle.
Well, it's the blooming life bloody engine, isn't it?
Why, he's packed up on the side of the road. The gather's going to be well pleased about
There's a great crowd of administrators and drivers and employers and so forth who will do these things in order to facilitate the job and keep it going. Naturally they will.
Oh, goodness. No, I wouldn't drive yours in the cold weather. You wouldn't? Well, you will never go there, mate. No, well, that's up to you, brother. I mean, I love it.
There's not a bit of room in my cab, you know.
I picked up a type the other day, you know, just picked up with no case. It was just like a 73 bus, I couldn't move.
Well, I do about 80 miles, I've got the crap up my eyebrows, and the collar shoved the seat back. About time they made them a bit bigger, I reckon. I mean, they make them big enough for the loads, don't they? And what about us?
This governor don't change this wagon, mate, there's going to be trouble, I tell you.
9 times out of 10 in this country, for 9 months in the year, the conditions are so darn bad that you need a heater for your screen and to keep yourself warm and comfortable, because if you're cold and miserable, for God's sake, and you're on a hell of a long run, well, you're in one hell of a mess, aren't you?
That's also very well, but they seem to forget nowadays, but without their driver, they're lost. And therefore, they have got to look after their driver. What I would like to do, as I said in the first place, is to send them up the road, make them sit in that cab for about 6 hours, and then after 6 hours, they'll realise what it's all about.
They want the vehicle to keep going and keep on and so forth and do the job.
Our story began when men like this talked together at their work, grumbled about their problems. For these men and their employers are experts in the world of trucks, and the roads of the world echo to their thunder. Everything we use, everything we need, everything we touch is brought to us by truck. Without trucks, industry and our society would crumble and die. This, then, is the story of a new truck, of a new and comprehensive range of tough and functional vehicles, and of the men who make them. The requirements appear straightforward, yet on examination they're very complex. The search is on for a vehicle which is 100% safe and reliable, a vehicle that requires a minimum of maintenance, designed to spend its time on the road where it belongs, not in the garage or repair shop. A vehicle with a high degree of cab comfort, yet with sufficient load-carrying capacity to earn its living. A vehicle that for sheer ruggedness will take on the worst conditions in the world and come out laughing. Nothing is ever made by just talking about it. And the known problems were enough to start with. Enough to dictate the methods, the studies, the calculations that had to be made and checked and made again. The spearhead of Project D had begun.
To keep the whole truck world happy, you've got to build them like a Savile Row suit, tailor-made.
But would they pay £10,000 for a 7-ton truck?
The D-Series will be a tailor-made truck range.
The basic plan is flexible enough to fit every individual requirement.
The cabs will be common to the whole range. Everything else can be tailored, from 2 right up to 8 tons.
The computers are going to work overtime.
Low operating costs are one of the key factors.
They must keep their trucks on the road.
Reliability.
This problem of cab access is vital to the distributive trades.
It's one of the talking points of truck operator meetings. But the long-distance general haulage truck is a big market.
10,500 to 27,500 pounds gross vehicle weight.
Remember overseas regulations, the right turning circle for Switzerland, the right cab width for Holland.
Don't forget cab comfort. Your driver today is important. He's an unpaid salesman for you. Keep him happy.
Site work, builders and contractors.
They work their trucks like galley slaves. They want them tough, durable.
The tipper is a different wagon from the truck used in transporting ladies' gowns. Special bodies, now, this is a separate problem.
Ease of maintenance, engine access.
They want to get to the engine as easy as they get to their car. They have to.
With the engine inclined, we save even more space.
Driver appeal.
Seat heights, adjustment, good insulation.
Heat.
Cold.
Ventilation.
Instrument positions.
Visibility. Pedal positions.
Hundreds of variations to start with.
We're going to run into thousands.
Purchase problems.
Costing problems.
Engineering programs.
Styling program.
Build-up schedule.
Announcement program.
UK announcement program. Overseas meetings.
Dealer meetings.
At our next meeting.
Our next meeting will be.
Our next meeting must be.
Fleet owner meetings.
Operator meetings. Meetings.
Meetings.
Some components were made and tested immediately, for on these components the ultimate design depended. If they failed, all failed. They had to be made right, and quickly. The engineers held inquests and argued and held more inquests, and got them right. After many preliminary designs, the overall shape had been reached. The whole cab was to tilt through an angle of 45 degrees, thus exposing the engine for ease of maintenance. An engine which itself was to be inclined at 45 degrees. This allowed for greater load carrying and better cab design, as well as engine accessibility. It also raised new problems, problems to be assessed and beaten. The target had been set. This was it. Intensive market research had thrown up the whole complex pattern and vast range of customer requirements. And inevitably this led to conflict between designers and engineers, sales planners and marketing men. But the thoughts in their minds were emerging. The work went on. An ever-increasing number of people working at an ever-increasing tempo. Sometimes the days were not long enough. The approved shape had to be translated into drawings, two-dimensional drawings, destined to end as 1 million trucks on the roads of the world. From the drawings, a shape, a seating buck, something three-dimensional, to be examined and modified and argued about, something to be checked and appraised in the search for perfection. The sights were set very high for the target of ultimate cab comfort. Slowly becomes another shape, a shape with detail, something to indicate the real appearance. The smallest piece of trim, reproduced, molded and shaped and changed again. cab is made, full size, in fiberglass. The stylists work with clay and with fiberglass, with their hands and eyes and senses. They produce a living shape, an area that is the beginning of style, of comfort, and practicability. While this goes on, the army grows in parallel. Grows to include chemists and metallurgists, scientists and electronics engineers. The army is very large now, an army dedicated to the cause of perfection. As each component is designed and produced, so it too is tested. Nothing is left to chance. Paint analysis, abrasion tests, springs that must one day smooth out the ride on the worst surfaces in the world must now be put through engineering laboratory tests for many hundreds of hours. The projection microscope is used by the metallurgist in the endless search for flaws or metal fatigue. As one of the largest manufacturers of diesel engines in the world, Ford know-how must be applied to the powerhouse of the new idea. Applied to the problems of lubricating and cooling specially designed engines that must develop full power and operate efficiently on their sides at an angle of 45 degrees. Radar and other advanced techniques are used in the dynamometer cells, a process that enables the experts to probe into the very heart of an engine. Computers can now be made to take some of the immense burden of development, but even they cannot take it all. Men have to test and build machines to test, to destroy in order to reach the ultimate. To test over hours and months and years, and to go on testing. Doors must not sag. They must be slammed for days on end. Seats must go through years of simulated use, but the test results data will be needed in weeks. Sun visors, windows, quarter lights, and that all-important heater to cool in the tropics and heat in the Arctic. A prototype cab is twisted and vibrated to throw up any failure in design, failure in metal, failure in the weld. But machines and gauges cannot tell the whole test story. Nothing built by man can duplicate perfectly the stresses a truck will take when used hard with a full load to pull in conditions it will meet all over the world. Nothing can simulate rough treatment so perfectly as rough treatment.
This course so many times, I thought I knew every bump, but we still found new and better ones. No variations in oil levels after phase 1. He wants his phase 3 report by tomorrow morning, so we better get cracking. I used to be sick at first, but by the 3rd week I was fine. Try and smash her up, they said. So we had a go, and we're still pounding round like the first day out. They stripped the suspension down and did their bits of calculating and all that. Then they came back and said, all systems go. And we did the test right through again. Right through from the beginning. I've been on truck testing for 10 years now, and I thought I knew all the answers. But what they're doing to these new jobs is just fantastic.
ease of maintenance, engine access. The tilt cab is here to stay. They want to get to the engine as easy as their car. They have to. With the engine inclined, we save even more space. Fleet operators come into our story again. The men whose responsibility it will be to use these trucks all over the world, fly in from all over the world, to see and to drive the prototype.
Immediately behind here, you have a fuse block with 10 fuses in it. So you can readily get a subunit. Uma mulher tem que entrar dentro da cabine e para esse ponto tem uma grande vantagem sobre a concorrência, sem dúvida nenhuma. Outra coisa. Jag ska förklara för dig här fördelen av att kunna titta på bromspedalen och på kopplingspedalen här genom att använda en svensk krona. The only thing with better visibility is a bicycle. You're right.
Io penso questa sia una caratteristica che tutti quanti apprezzeranno, non penso?
Veramente, sì, visibilità eccellente. Penso che sui... Je zou dus de lengte van de bak ongeveer met 40 centimeter moeten beperken.
It was to these men and to their drivers that Ford listened in the first place. Now their comments, their disappointments are noted and acted upon. Further test programs result. Prototypes are put through normal working conditions. No special treatment, no compromises. They went south for conditions of great heat. They went up to the Arctic Circle and in cold rooms like giant refrigerators where the thermometer was 30 below. Prototypes were loaned to large fleet operators, and still the reports poured in. Each test designed to reveal any faults that may have got through the net, and the mesh is already as fine as man can devise. Now it is time for the great project to move into the production areas, into production that is as meticulous as all that has gone before. The only way to build up to a standard of quality which alone can justify the research and development. The production men now see the fruits of so much work emerging in the company's factories and assembly areas. In the paint shops, the wide variety of colors available adds a new and brighter image to the project as it nears its final stages. But still, the checking and rechecking goes on. Thousands of individual components pass through expert hands and eyes to maintain an uncompromising standard for the finished job. And so the truck is completed, and our story has been told. From initial conception to styling, to design, development, and testing. Now it is ready to satisfy the markets of the world. A truck that can be tailored to any job. A truck that will satisfy the driver and satisfy the owner. A truck that is rugged and dependable and will stay on the road and earn its keep. A new conception of transportation, made for the markets of the world to carry the goods of the world. This is the story of Project D. The D series.